Hi, welcome back. This video, I'm going to be talking about things that they don't tell you before you become a parent, that you discover when you become a parent. I'm going to be talking about those parenting tips that don't work. What they don't tell you is that every child has their own distinct personality. That means that strategy that works for one child might not work for the other child. So yes, it's good to read books and things about how to parent, but there's no perfect parenting. It's all a trial and error when it comes to each child, because when it comes to one child, one strategy might work, but when you try it on another child, it might not work. For example, putting a child in timeout might work with one child, but putting another child in timeout might not work. I can tell you is you're going to be washing your clothes a lot more than usual. In the early stages of your child's life, it's going to be difficult to have a stainless top, a stainless clothes. What they don't tell you about parenting is that you'll discover that you have a lot of strengths and a lot of qualities. For example, you'll discover that you can do more than one thing at once. Like you have great multitasking skills. You'll discover that you have great problem solving skills. What they don't tell you as well is a lot of the time as you are teaching your children, they are also teaching you many things. They're teaching you a lot of things about your personality and yourself. They will teach you that you're not always right. They don't tell you is that your kids follow your example, what you do and not what you say most of the time. So there's no point nagging at your child, because at the end of the day, your child will do what you do. Children tend to imitate your behavior. For example, the best way to teach your child good manners is to show good manners yourself. You can't expect your child to say their please and thank yous when you don't say your please and thank yous. Another thing they don't tell you is that children pick up energy. Like if you're not good and you're trying to hide the fact that you're not in a good mood, they will still pick up that you're not in a good mood. First, I wouldn't say the worst advice, but I'd say the advice that doesn't really work, that I've tried that doesn't really work, is when they tell you when your baby's sleeping, you sleep as well. Because normally when your baby's sleeping, you have to get up, make their milk. When they're sleeping, you probably have to tidy up. When they're sleeping, you probably have to do the laundry or even go take a shower. So it's very difficult to practice that advice in reality. What they don't tell you as well is that children have a lot of faith. Like children believe strongly in what you say to them. So, which is why it's very important not to lie to a child, or not to say a promise and not keep your promise. You might think it's just a light matter when you promise something to your child and not keep it, but to them it actually you're slowly destroying the trust that child has in you. To free time, you actually have to make free time. So what they don't tell you is that there's no such thing as free time. You'd have to make it. You'd have to cancel something, you'd have to move something around in your schedule to make free time. But in reality, there's no free time when you become a parent. Another thing they don't tell you is that it's not that the child won't do as they're told, but sometimes that they can't do as they're told. You're asking your child to do something, it's not really that they won't do as they're told. Often it's that they can't do as they're told. Maybe they haven't understood what you're asking them to do or why you're asking them. It's always best to examine whether your child won't do as you want them to do, or they can't do what you want them to do. Now, what they tell you as well is that you should always put your kids' needs first, no matter what. When you don't take care of your needs and you neglect your own needs, and you get so focused on only the child, neglect yourself, know that you're self-sabotaging, and your child will be in need of a person that is stable emotionally. Your child will need to see you happy. Let me tell you, if you're not okay and you're losing yourself, because even when you become a parent, sometimes you lose yourself. You forget who you were before you became a parent. When you lose yourself, you're not going to be able to raise your child correctly. What they don't tell you is by telling your child all the time that you don't have any money, what you are doing is you're putting fear in the child's mind, And they might start concealing their needs rather than telling you what their needs are, because they have put in their mind that you're not going to be able to afford that thing. What they don't tell you is that sleep deprivation can completely alter your personality. What they don't tell you is that whether you're doing it right or not, there will always be somebody criticizing. There will always be somebody wanting to add their nugget, advising you. And sometimes when they come to advise you, it's not really that you're doing it wrong. It's just that some people as well, they like to advise you to make themselves feel better about themselves, to make themselves feel, position themselves in your life as an expert in that area. There are things that they should tell you but don't tell you about becoming a parent.